ring?
I feel like it'll be a little entertaining. I don't know how long he's gonna last in with these big shots coming at him, but hey, we only time will tell. You know, I'm not here to hype that shit. Not even my business. That's somebody else fish to fry.
Yeah.
You know, I got my own fish to fry.
Terence Crawford is not going to do anything to Canelo Alvarez. Terence Crawford, yes, he's good. He's a 4-division world champion, 2-division undisputed, but he couldn't even hurt Majimov.
Is that they think that Canelo is easy work because of the fact that he's flat-footed and he just kind of like, he does basic, I would say. He has basic skills, but he's really good at those basic fundamental skills.
Jermell Charlo breaks down why he believes Canelo Alvarez will have the edge over Terence Crawford. He emphasizes that the real question is how long Crawford can endure Canelo's power and relentless pressure. Charlo notes that Crawford is already moving up in weight to take on Canelo, which only adds to the challenge. In his view, the fight ultimately depends on how well Crawford can withstand Canelo's physical strength over the course of the bout. Analysts also point out that Crawford struggled to seriously hurt Israel Madrimov, a fighter nowhere near Canelo's level. While Crawford's dominance against Errol Spence showcases brilliance, facing Canelo is an entirely different test. Alvarez is not only more active in recent years, but also younger and far more established, making him the toughest and most dangerous opponent Crawford has ever faced.
10-0. They never got in the ring with anything like a Terence Crawford. They never got in the ring with a former champion, with an elite fighter. And he couldn't hurt. He couldn't hurt Majimov. Canelo Alvarez is no Earl Spence, ladies and gentlemen. I know that some of y'all are hyped because what Terence Crawford did an incredible performance and an incredible job versus Earl the True Spence that was supposed to be the big fish, and he turned the big fish into tuna fish on your outline, on your local supermarket. Canelo Alvarez is not Earl Spence, my brothers. Canelo Alvarez is not Amir Khan. Canelo Alvarez is not Kelbrook. Canelo Alvarez is not Gamboa. Canelo Alvarez is not Felix Diaz. Canelo Alvarez is not Sean Porter. Canelo Alvarez is none of those guys, ladies and gentlemen. Canelo Alvarez is none of those guys. Canelo Alvarez is not the Mean Machine. Canelo Alvarez is Canelo Alvarez, regarded as one of the greats. And not just the Mexican greats. I don't like how y'all like try to put it. Oh no, he's the best Mexican, because you don't want to say that he's one of the greatest that ever laced him up. Canelo Alvarez is one of the greatest that ever laced him up. Has carried the sport of boxing on his shoulder. And let me say it like this: leading up to the fight, Canelo Alvarez is more active than Terence Crawford. Canelo Alvarez is more seasoned than Canelo Alvarez is more seasoned than Terence Crawford. He's younger than Terence Crawford. He's more active than Terence Crawford. His resume is better than Terence Crawford. The people that he's fought is better than Terence Crawford. He's fought every damn style. He's fought the best Russians at the time with Kovalev. He fought the best Asian in Kazakhstan and Triple G.
Kell Brook explains why he favors Canelo Alvarez in a potential clash with Terence Crawford, stressing that Canelo represents a completely different challenge than anyone Crawford has ever faced. While Brook acknowledges that Crawford's dominant win over Errol Spence was impressive, he argues it does little to prepare him for what Canelo brings. Alvarez's strength, vast experience, and proven ability to dictate fights in higher weight classes make him a far more dangerous opponent. Brook adds that Crawford has never shared the ring with a fighter possessing Canelo's unique combination of power, skill, and ring IQ, factors that, in his view, make this the toughest test of Crawford's career.
You've got to sway towards Canelo. Crawford's going to have to, move up, and, I knew when I boxed Golovkin, there's a big difference, especially with someone that, fighting a middleweight, a mediocre world champion's okay. But when you're fighting someone like, Canelo or Golovkin, it's a different kettle of fish, I have to lean towards Canelo, but, Crawford's very, very, very good.
Do you think Crawford's still got the legs? Obviously, he's very much got great IQ in the ring, but he's very much a good mover as well. Do you feel like he's still got the legs to be maybe outmoving Canelo if he needs to?
Well, I don't know. I think when we look back at Mayweather when he beat Canelo, he's a mover. Crawford's not really like Mayweather in that aspect. He's more. He kind of sets his feet. He's cute with how he approaches chucking shots and moving. You know what I mean? I think it's a different fight to Mayweather, and Canelo's obviously a different fighter from when he boxed Mayweather.
Analysts emphasize that Terence Crawford may be too small to truly trouble Canelo Alvarez, given that he is moving up nearly 3 weight classes with limited experience at 154. They draw comparisons to Floyd Mayweather, who had already faced multiple elite opponents before meeting Canelo, while Crawford's resume at that weight only includes Israel Madrimov. Gabe Rosotto further notes that fighters accustomed to taking punches from naturally bigger opponents are far less affected by shots from smaller divisions. This raises serious questions about how Crawford will cope with Canelo's size, strength, and durability in the ring.
I think that Crawford may be too small to really impact and hurt Canelo Alvarez. He's moving up pretty much 3 weight classes, which is exactly what I said. I'm not counting 154. He had 1 fight, bro. He had 1 fight. Floyd Mayweather got more fights at 54 than Terence Crawford. Boop. Because Crawford, he fought Madrimov. Floyd fought De La Hoya, Cotto, and then he fought Canelo at 152. So you had an aging Floyd who fought more times at the higher weight class, and Bud looks to be a bigger dude than Floyd Mayweather, right? So when Floyd was 37, he moved to 52 and fought a much bigger Canelo. Crawford's 37. He fighting Madrimov with 11 fights. Not the same. It's not. I don't care what y'all talking about. The Bud Buddy's just going to have to be mad at me because truth is truth. So that's a valid question. And again, I'll be glad when this fight's over. Put it that way. I don't care who wins. May the best man win. I hope it's a double knockout. I already told y'all. Just because I'm just over it, and I want to get back to some of the other fights. There's other fights that are interesting, and they make more sense. Like Brian Norman, Devin Haney. I'm interested in Yard versus Benavidez, etc. There's some fights we're hearing about, blah, blah, blah. So I'll be glad when this is over, to be 100% honest. There's more fights that actually fans have been requesting that matter, blah, blah, blah. But Rosado, he brought up a lot of good points. He was saying Crawford, he thinks he's too small, and he even gave his own personal experience. He said, I'm 180, 190 solid, and when I fight guys that are welterweights, even if they crack and they're known for being menacing, murderous punchers at the lower weight classes, 140, 147, them moving up, it feel like pillows when they fight me. When I get hit with their punches, it feel like pillows because I'm used to getting hit by triple, right? He used to Triple G work. He used to Lemieux work. So to me, this is kind of common sense, but common sense ain't that common, right?
Analysts continue to stress that the defining factor in a potential clash between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez is whether Crawford can withstand Canelo's power. The question isn't just about skill, but about endurance, absorbing the kind of heavy shots that have broken down so many of Canelo's past opponents. While some fighters argue that Alvarez looks flat-footed and easier to handle, experts caution that this perception is misleading. Canelo's style is deliberate, built on balance, timing, and efficiency, allowing him to generate maximum force with every punch. For Crawford, the challenge will be avoiding those shots with his defensive sharpness and movement, while remaining composed when the pressure inevitably mounts. Many believe this fight won't be decided by who lands more punches, but by whether Crawford's chin and body can survive the sustained punishment that Canelo is capable of delivering.
Is Crawford going to be able to take Canelo's punches? And is Canelo going to be skilled enough to not keep on getting banged up by Crawford and his craftiness? It's like, the battle of two greats, you know what I mean? So I believe that Canelo, you really see him, when you see him fight, he almost got a one way of style, and it works for him. He likes to get in there and bang you up. He likes to throw hard punches. He likes to break you down. He likes to hit you everywhere. You're gonna hit in your body, your arms, the forehead, the ear, the neck. Wherever he can land a good one, he's gonna land it, and that usually breaks him down. So with some fighters, I see is that they think that Canelo is easy work because of the fact that he's flat-footed and he just kind of like, he does basic, I would say. He has basic skills, but he's really good at those basic fundamental skills. He does everything almost like perfect. But yeah, he's flat-footed, but you got to realize that he also has hell of a head movement and body movement. He understands and he's perfected at rolling with the punch thing.
Terence Crawford's night against Errol Spence is remembered as one of the most dominant and complete performances in boxing history. He displayed every tool in his arsenal: speed, precision, timing, defense, and a ruthless finishing instinct. Crawford dismantled a fighter once regarded as one of the premier welterweights in the sport and did it with ease. For many, that victory cemented his status as one of this generation's all-time greats. Now, those around him insist he looks even sharper than he did that night. Training partners report that his speed remains blistering, his reflexes are as sharp as ever, and his conditioning has reached a new peak. Despite being older, Crawford seems to have refined his style, sharpened his focus, and elevated his preparation. Observers believe he may be in the best form of his career, and that newfound edge could prove crucial against a dangerous opponent like Canelo Alvarez.
Sharper than ever, more dangerous than ever, and most importantly, he looks like the greatest version of himself. Now, can we actually believe this? Can Terence Crawford at nearly 39 years old, with him being inactive, with him being heavier than ever, is it possible that the man will actually look better than ever? Now, let's think about it, ladies and gentlemen. When you're talking about someone like Terence Crawford or Canelo Alvarez, you're talking about the elite of the elite. And if I'm going to be honest, Terence Crawford, when he fought Errol Spence, in my opinion, in all my years of watching combat sports, I'm a MMA guy turned into boxing. But I have never, ever, ever in my life watched an elite championship fight and had my jaw absolutely drop to the floor with the greatness that I witnessed. And that is the only way to describe what Terence Crawford did versus Errol Spence. In my opinion, that was the greatest performance in our lifetime. I mean, I can't go back to the old days. I'm not a historian. But as far as I'm concerned, that was the greatest performance I have ever seen in my life. And especially to who he did it to, Errol Spence. Dangerous southpaw at the time. I believe he was pound for pound number 3. And Terence Crawford absolutely annihilated him.
Former middleweight champion Kelly Pavlik has outlined the blueprint he believes could give Terence Crawford the edge over Canelo Alvarez. His focus is on the opening rounds. Pavlik argues that Crawford cannot afford to let Canelo dictate the pace. Instead, he must rely on his footwork, sharp combinations, and ring IQ to force Canelo into working harder than usual. The idea is straightforward. Make Canelo throw more punches, move his feet, and chase the action, gradually draining his gas tank. Pavlik points out that Alvarez has shown signs of fatigue in the later stages of grueling fights, and this is where Crawford's chance may come. By applying steady pressure early and maintaining a high tempo, Crawford could sap Canelo's explosive power, setting the stage to outpoint him, or even secure a late stoppage.
Stay in Canelo's ass a little early on, put Canelo behind, right? Even if it's 3 out of the first 4 rounds, because when Canelo has to fight, okay, when Canelo has to step it up, after 7 rounds, he starts to fade a little bit. We've seen that with Bivol. We've seen it in a lot of his fights with Triple G. You know, when Canelo could control the fight and the ring generalship, like, yeah, he could fight 12 rounds pretty good. But when Canelo gets pushed early on in the fight, he starts to fade muscle endurance-wise. So if I was Crawford, I would kind of stay in his ass a little bit on, you know, the early rounds and make him have to play catch-up in rounds 3, 4, 5. And then by round 7, that's where, you know, he could really step it up.
Dan Raphael offered a key perspective when comparing the experience of both fighters. He noted that Canelo Alvarez has already faced and absorbed punches from opponents who moved up from lighter divisions, such as Floyd Mayweather, Amir Khan, and Miguel Cotto. Not only did Canelo fight them, but he also adjusted to their speed and timing, showing he could handle the challenges posed by smaller, quicker men. In contrast, Terence Crawford has yet to face a naturally bigger fighter with the kind of size and physical strength that Canelo brings. While Crawford has dominated across multiple weight classes, stepping in against an opponent who is truly comfortable at higher divisions presents a completely different test. Raphael's point highlights that Canelo's vast experience at the elite level, against every style and size, could provide him with a critical advantage over Crawford, who has never been tested by that degree of power and physicality.
Dan Raphael kind of made a great point when talking about sizes, because he said, if you look at them two together now, they look the same size. Mm-hmm. He said, people have got the idea of the size thing wrong. It's not looking at them as a physical package. It's who has absorbed the bigger shots in the weight division. So, and it was good. It was a very good point. He was like, Canelo has been hit by light heavyweights and super middleweights for the best part of a decade.
Basically.
He's so used to taking those shots, whereas Crawford hasn't. Crawford's been hit by 140 guys and 147 guys for the best part of a decade.
Yeah.
What's Crawford going to be like? So basically, he's trying to say, Canelo could easily absorb Crawford shots. Mm-hmm. Can Crawford easily absorb Canelo's punches?
If you're taking shots from Triple G, Sergey Kovalev, Dmitry Bivol, and you're staying on your feet, not getting hurt.
Not even getting wobbled.
Not even getting wobbled, just literally shaking it off.
Yeah.
You can take Terence Crawford shots.
100%.
Right.
Mikey Garcia has been blunt in his prediction, stating that Canelo Alvarez has a power to seriously hurt Terence Crawford. While acknowledging Crawford's elite skill set, Garcia argues that his defensive brilliance may not be enough to neutralize the sheer force behind Canelo's punches. He points specifically to Alvarez's body attack, hooks to the ribs and uppercuts to the midsection, that has broken down so many opponents in the past. In Garcia's view, Crawford is a master technician, but technical brilliance can only go so far against raw power at a higher weight. He warns that once Canelo lands with authority, the momentum of the fight could shift in an instant. Garcia's comments echo a broader concern among analysts, that the size and power gap may prove too great for Crawford to overcome.
What happens when he takes a shot from Canelo? One of those uppercuts from Munguia or those...
He could get dropped, or he feels it enough to be like, fuck this, I'm boxing. And goes on the bicycle and turns southpaw for the rest of the night. And I wouldn't blame him either. Fuck it, you're gonna go in there and collect the fucking paycheck at that point.
Right.
You're not gonna go get hurt.
Right.
What good is it to get fucking 20, 30 million if you are fucking hurt physically, end up in the hospital and hurt just physically, life-changing, you don't want that shit.
But you think Canelo could hurt him? It could be life-changing?
Sure, he's that big, fool. One punch could fucking knock him out bad enough to hurt his eye socket or detached retina. You never fucking know.
Right.
So no one wants that shit.
Crawford said if he beats him, he's in the top 3 GOATs of all time.
Oh, for sure. If Crawford beats Canelo, then for sure. Give him all the fucking props in the world, bro. And he actually does have a chance. It's not like he doesn't have a chance. Don't be too surprised if he fucking pulls it off in the decision.
Antonio offered a more optimistic perspective on Terence Crawford's chances, pointing to his mental preparation as a key factor. He explained that Crawford is known for visualizing his fights well before stepping into the ring, giving him a clear sense of the challenges ahead and how to respond to them. Antonio highlighted Crawford's adaptability and intelligence, noting that his success has never relied solely on physical gifts. Instead, Crawford has built a career on adjusting to opponents, breaking them down, and dictating the rhythm of a fight. In Antonio's view, this matchup isn't about weight classes, it's about skill sets. If Crawford can execute his game plan, Antonio believes his versatility and boxing IQ could allow him to offset Canelo's physical advantages and find a path to victory.
Terence got to be Terence, bro. He's a real deep thinker. He processed fights like nobody else. And he's processed this Canelo fight. He's seen it. He went through it 2 or 3 times already. He knows how this ends. You can tell the way he shadow boxes. He visualizing Canelo being right there in front of him. You understand? Look at the movement. That's all you got to do. Look at the movement. And that's the type of master boxer that Canelo is going to be facing. And the only thing I say is Canelo hasn't faced an opponent like this in a long time. You know what I mean? I think Canelo's going to have to go back to the Caleb Plant fight and look that good, that active, that, you feel me, moving with that type of grace to beat Terence Crawford. Because weight ain't going to make the difference. It ain't going to be the weight. It's going to be the skill set.